Today, we're going to practice the differences between literal language and figurative language. Now, you may have never heard those words before. You might have heard other terms, like maybe literal sounds a little bit like literally, or maybe figurative sounds like figure, which are some of the words that I think of when I hear those words. But they actually have some pretty fun meanings, and they are different types of words and phrases that you will use all throughout your life. Let's take a look at the first example. When something is literal, that means that it's what something actually means. If you say, "Oh, it is literally so hot in here," that means that you're saying it really is hot. It's stating the truth. Something literal is what's actually happening. Now take a look here in this picture. This picture looks a little bit funny because the phrase at the bottom is, "It's raining cats and dogs." Have you ever heard that phrase before? I know I've used that phrase before. If I mean that in a literal way, that would mean that dogs and cats would be actually falling from the sky. Now, do you think that's ever happened before? Because I've never seen it. No, usually when we say it's raining cats and dogs, we don't actually mean cats and dogs. That would be the literal meaning. I've never looked out my window and seen cats and dogs falling down. We use that phrase in a figurative way. When we say it's raining cats and dogs outside, what we mean is it's raining really, really hard outside. It's a phrase that means something different than the actual words that we're using. Now, you might say, why would we say it's raining cats and dogs? Why could we not just say it's raining really hard? And you can, but sometimes people use these figurative language phrases to make what they're saying sound more interesting. But we need to know, when does it mean something literal and when is it a figurative part of speech? Let's look at a few more examples of figurative language. The next example is when someone says, "break a leg." Now, if someone says that to you, do you think they really want you to go and break your leg like this person in this picture? I don't think so. There's not many people in the world that wish for someone to actually go and break their leg. That would not be a very kind thing to say to another person. But oftentimes when we say break a leg, what we mean is we mean that we're wishing them good luck. That's a phrase that people use. Maybe you are someone who performs in the theater. Maybe you play a sport. Maybe you take dance class. Anything where you need to do a performance of some sort. A lot of people, they might even say it before they take a test. Like, "Oh, go break a leg." They're not really wanting you to break your leg. That is a phrase that we use to wish others luck and to say, "Good luck. I hope that you do great." Break a leg is figurative language. Another figurative phrase, this one's a little bit silly. Sometimes we say, "I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse." And if you look at the little picture that I put down here, it's this horse saying, "I'm so hungry, I could eat you," to his horse friend. Now, that would be the literal meaning, but when we say, "I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse," it just means that we are really hungry. Now, underline really 2 times. Like maybe this is if you were out all day at an amusement park or a carnival and you haven't eaten in hours, but you have done so much walking or running or exercising or swimming, and you are just so hungry and you feel like you could eat so much food, then "I'm so hungry I could eat a horse" would be a figurative phrase that you could use to express your hunger and that you are really hungry. You're not really going to eat a horse, but it's a phrase to say how hungry you truly are. Another one involves cold feet. Now, some people ask themselves this, or other people, if a big event is coming up. Maybe you're going to be in a play. Maybe you have a big game or a big test, or something's coming up that you might be really nervous about. And we might ask them, "Are you getting cold feet?" It doesn't mean that your feet are actually cold, which could really happen, but that's not what they're asking. If you have cold feet, that means that you are getting nervous. It's just one of those phrases that we use to express how we're feeling. Sometimes if you watch a movie, maybe if there's going to be a wedding in the movie, sometimes they'll ask the bride or the groom, "You're not getting cold feet, are you? Like, you're not getting nervous, are you?" But this is a phrase that we see actually quite often. You might feel like you're getting cold feet if you need to go up and talk in front of a big group of people. Or maybe you have to do a performance. Some of you might have had a performance in first grade in a play. You might have been getting really nervous. You could have said, "I'm getting cold feet." That's a figure of speech. And the last example today is "I'm all ears." Now, this picture's a little bit silly because you can see that this character, luckily it's a drawing, has ears all around his head. Now, that doesn't mean what it sounds like it means. If you say "I'm all ears," that means that you are ready to listen carefully. It's all about listening. Sometimes we say this if we want someone to really know that we're paying attention to them. Maybe they tried to tell us something and we were a little bit distracted, and maybe they got a little bit frustrated with us because we weren't listening. Then maybe once you're focused, you could say, "You know what? I'm ready. I'm all ears." It just means that I'm ready to listen and I am going to be paying attention to what you're going to be saying. There are so many different types of figurative language. You'll hear a lot of these phrases throughout your life, and we will be practicing them this week in second grade.